All right, gonna go over drywall patching tonight. Pretty much gonna design this video to cater to the average layperson. Maybe somebody that doesn't have a wide array of tools at home or a ton of skill. So we're gonna go down to the basics. A gaping hole like this, which is, just to give you some idea, 8x4, 8x4.5. That may be shocking to some, but we're gonna break it down and show you how truly easy it is to patch a hole this size, from soup to nuts. We'll talk about putting a piece of drywall in and take it all the way to finishing. If you pan over here, you can see at one point in time, this was in the same predicament. We had an electrical box here, and that's our end product, primed and everything. You can't even tell. So we'll make a series of a couple small videos that takes you from this point to that point. With applicability, this is a large square where a 4-gang or 4 box electrical unit was. This could also be applicable, and I'll talk about how even it works for the smallest of doorknobs or a fist or a knee, anything. Small holes all the way up to big holes. All right. So real quick, we're gonna have our opening. We're gonna take a quick measurement because you have to put some sort of wood. We're between studs here, right? We have nothing. We have to make something to screw our drywall patch to. So we're gonna take a quick measurement. We wanna have at least a couple inches of overhang. This does not need to be a perfect science, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm gonna go for like 8 inches. That'll give me 2 below the 4.5 and then 2 above. It does not have to be perfect. So 8 inches, and I'm gonna make 2 of them just so I can get decent coverage there. I have a furring strip. You could use anything. If this was a larger hole, it's complete overkill, but you could cut down and fit a 2x4 in there. If it's a smaller hole, like I talked about, maybe a doorknob accidentally went through drywall, I've gotten away with just going to the paint desk at Depot and getting a paint stirrer. You could crack this down, and again, I didn't need to do any take any measurements in theory, and I could use this. You could screw these guys in there. We would be just fine, even on this size hole. But for tonight, I will show you the same process with using a furring strip. But again, if you wanted to be cheap about it, I have countless times used a quick furring strip. So we talked about 8 inches. I'll mark. We again do not need to be perfect. To go over another tool, if you have it, and again, it's not a big deal, a square, carpenter square, you would put the channel on the flat factory edge, bring it over to your mark. If you cared enough, and scribe your line. And then you come off and make another one. We're gonna make 2 of them. Again, I'm just kind of showing you how to use a square. You do not need a square. This thing can be off. Just for the sake of being easy, I'll just cut it right here on the drop cloth here in the house. Again, I'm not even on my line. I make a groove. Again, it does not have to be perfect. It doesn't matter. This is disappearing behind the wall. So I do fine finish carpentry, but again, something like this, trying to be quick and easy, late at night, filming a quick video. I'll show you how this is gonna work. We're gonna put one right in here. We could probably get away with one in the middle, but I'm just gonna overkill it and give us plenty. I'm gonna overlap that seam just again to reinforce and give me a lot of surface area for when we're gonna put a drywall remnant in there. Real quick, if you can zoom in down here, if you are shopping for materials and have the choice, you'll see there's a coarse thread right here. Try to avoid them. Not only do they tear up your hands, but when we're going into the softer pine, they're liable to split, especially if you're using and you want to go down the route of the paint stirrer. The coarse thread will probably split this and make it, a little bit less, what's the word I'm looking for? Effective, I apologize. And then you got the fine thread. These are both 1 5/8, 1 5/8 drywall screws. It's literally all we're gonna use. So I elect to use fine thread 9 times out of 10 because they're easier on my fingers, and typically I am doing a lot of drywall work. I know I can get, if this were, higher up on the wall, you're gonna wanna hold it, but I can set that down for a minute. get one of mine started. Again, this is kind of arbitrary. You don't have to worry about perfect placement. I'm gonna hold it in place. I also don't know if I got that 2 inches down and 2 inches above perfect. I just know that I'm spreading the gap. We'll get this guy in there. I'm giving it some back pressure. You want it to just be a little bit concave, a little bit under the drywall. If you go too far, that's fine. Just put another one in. I'm going to stop at 2 because that thing's rock solid. Again, we probably could get away with putting 1 in the center, but I didn't want that seam to be teeter-tottery if a kid ever bumps into it, or you bump into this with a piece of furniture. So again, we're going to snag another 8-inch. I'm just scribing it. I'll show you that square just because I'm a little particular, but on this project, it can be scrap. Cameraman's fired. Went all the way through. You literally could take this outside against the wall and just split it, whatever you want. And we'll do the same thing again. You can start both your screws. Back that out a little bit. Splinter. Get her down in there. All right, now we're prepped and ready for drywall. So we gave ourselves room. You can see with your average stud finder, our studs are here. We have no studs, so we have a corner stud and then we're 16 out there. So we had no other option but to, piece in and give ourselves our own wood to drywall against. So as far as that drywall scrap's concerned, we're gonna go with 8 inches would be too tight, and you do not have to be perfect. Drywall is extremely forgiving, because we'll get into that shortly when we talk about mudding it up and using some seam tape. So 8 inches would be way too tight. I'm just gonna make it 7 5/8. I'm gonna give myself plenty. I'll make it 7 3/4. I'm gonna give myself plenty of room. That's gonna give myself 1/8 of an inch all the way around. 7 3/4. 4, again, way too tight, by 3 3/4. 7 3/4 by 3 3/4. So if you can't remember that, 7 3/4, 3 3/4. I don't have to measure again. I can come back and see my own reference. You're good. You can hit stop.